So today we'll be getting into some stories with Chris Jericho, Bayley, and much more. Let's start things off with Chris Jericho's comments on WWE Factions. One bigger issue in recent memory in WWE has always been the handling and booking of factions and tag teams. You always have rare cases where tag teams and factions such as The Shield and The New Day do reach insane amounts of success and lasted for a long time. But majority of the time, factions and tag teams in WWE never get treated with serious direction and always split up prematurely out of nowhere. And it's a real bad tendency that we see where a breakup doesn't make any sense and didn't need to happen in that moment that it does. Just look at the list of all those premature breakups and splits from factions and tag teams recently. Alexa Bliss and Bray Wyatt, Andrade and Zelina Vega, Insanity, Retribution, The Iconics, Tucker and Otis, The Hurt Business, and more. Majority of that list right there is from this past 1 year alone. All great tag teams and factions that had awful, terrible splits that made no sense and didn't go anywhere. It's probably one of the biggest unanswered questions. Why give up on these factions so fast when you don't have anything planned for them post-split? It's very confusing. Obviously, the most recent premature split that made no sense was the Hurt Business. MVP and Bobby Lashley spent more than a year organizing this big plan to create this faction and win all the gold. They then recruited Shelton Benjamin and Cedric Alexander, and after months and months of grinding, they finally accomplished their goal of having all that gold. Then, cut to a few days later and the Hurt Business is split and done overnight in a classic, anticlimactic breakup. And now, where's Shelton and Cedric at? What are they doing right now? Nothing. So, what was the point to rush that breakup when you had something good going on? Same could be said for just about everyone on that list. Nothing but missed opportunities with Alexa Bliss and Bray Wyatt. You had this big opportunity to take this pairing to the next level, make them the WWE Joker and Harley Quinn. But what ended up happening? Bray was gone for several months and Alexa Bliss kept a feud going solo with Randy Orton. Bray finally returns and Alexa Bliss turns on him during the first match back, and he disappears again. Bray and Alexa didn't get to much of anything during their time together. Bray was at home while Alexa was making Orton spit up black liquid for several months. That's all they ever really accomplished together during their final months together. So, when you look at the potential of what could have been compared to what actually happened, you can't help but to feel a little bit disappointed. Same thing goes for other tag teams like the Iconics, another pointless and meaningless split that led to nothing for both Peyton and Billy. So it just leaves you wondering why. Same goes with Zelina and Andrade, all splits that made no sense and could have never happened. That brings us to today's story and comments from Chris Jericho. Jericho was recently talking about how the Inner Circle has lasted 2 years, but if they were in WWE, that faction would have lasted 3 months maximum. Chris Jericho had this to say on The Talk is Jericho. There's always a tendency to rush, like the Inner Circle, our group, has been together for over 2 years now, never broke up, never turned on each other. If we were in WWE, we would have done it in 3 months, and if you don't believe it, look at the Hurt Business. These guys were great, and here's what happens. They break guys up, and then 2 of the guys end up doing nothing, and 1 guy stays. So that's what Jericho had to say on that, and it's not to cause this whole big comparison between WWE and AEW, but in this one specific case, Jericho is speaking straight facts. Just look at Retribution and the Hurt Business. Look at the potential that Retribution first had with their introduction in summer 2020. A group of WWE superstars that were tired of standing around and getting overlooked in WWE. So, they rebelled against the company and wanted to cause mayhem and destroy them. But once they signed contracts to Raw and were unmasked, everything went downhill from there. They had no story at all. They were feuding literally 5 versus 1 with Ricochet and completely lost their personas and main objective. So, they split them up. And now, where are they at? The Hurt Business felt like it was always really just starting up and starting to reach their full potential, and then it was just gone. So like Jericho said, if you put Inner Circle in WWE, what happens? They probably follow the same path, a strong introduction and fade out instantly in a matter of weeks. So that's unfortunate how things have to go for a majority of tag teams and factions. So hopefully that theme starts to change soon. Hopefully tag teams and factions can stop breaking up after 2 months and actually get some decent direction going for them. But what are your thoughts on what Chris Jericho had to say? Do you agree or disagree with him? Does WWE give up too fast on factions and tag teams? One of Bayley's longest ongoing rivals has surprisingly been against WWE commentator Michael Cole. This is all something that really took off in the Performance Center and Thunderdome eras of WWE. The superstars are competing in an empty arena with commentators speaking just 10 feet away from the ring. So, without the roars of the crowd filling the arena, superstars competing in the ring can most definitely hear every single word that comes out of the commentators' mouths. But Bayley was the only superstar that got creative and made this a trait for her character. Throughout this entire pandemic era for WWE, Bayley was the only superstar to interact and actually talk back to the commentators during her matches. It was something very unique, and she was the only one that did it. If Michael Cole said something slick on commentary, Bayley would respond and yell something at him during whatever match she was a part of. No other superstar has ever done that throughout this entire era, so it was unique to just Bayley. Bayley was recently speaking with Metro UK and was asked about this entire feud with Cole. She had this to say when asked about the match with Cole. "Oh, I will make it happen. Don't even worry about it. It'll happen." I'm going to miss that. I don't know if people realize it or they think I'm doing it just for fun, which it is fun to give Cole crap, but I can literally hear them. They're 10 feet away from me in an empty arena, so I can hear everything he's saying. So it just felt fitting to respond to it. Why not? So it was something creative that Bayley threw in that no other superstars did. It was always entertaining to hear Bayley and Michael Cole go back and forth during one of her matches. Bayley is going to get what seems to be one more crack at the SmackDown Women's title. So we'll see how that one turns out for her. Of course, Bayley won't be able to interact with Michael Cole anymore during the matches since fans are officially back for good in a matter of a few days. So we'll see what different and unique ways Bayley can find in order to keep this rivalry going with Michael Cole. It also looks like getting into the ring with Michael Cole is also the endgame that Bayley wants from all of this. So that'll be interesting to keep an eye on as well. Will Bayley get her wish and step into the ring with Cole just to shut him up for good? We'll see, but it definitely looks like Bayley is going to fight to make that match happen sometime in the near future. So hopefully we do get to see more Bayley and Cole interactions, even with the WWE fans now being back. But what are your thoughts on today's stories with what Chris Jericho had to say about WWE Factions, and what Bayley had to say about everything going on with Michael Cole? Leave your comments below. Don't forget to subscribe with all notifications on, and leave a like if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys.